Welcome back to Jacoby Rising. Today we're going to talk about what Dead Space can learn from Star Wars. We all know that Visceral Games is working on their new Star Wars game, which has been scheduled to release sometime in 2018. The biggest question that we have been wondering when we heard that news was, okay, Visceral Games is working on a new Star Wars game. When is Dead Space 4 coming out? That's been our biggest question. How about what can Visceral Games learn from that game and the experience that they get from making a different series? What can they take from that experience and implement what was good from that experience into Dead Space 4? The very first thing that comes to mind is melee combat. Star Wars is all about lightsaber fights. That's not all Star Wars is about, but a majority of Star Wars involves lightsabers, which is close quarter combat. And we don't really have any type of close quarter combat in a Dead Space game. The closest thing that we'll get to is Isaac Clarke stomping on the ground or throwing his weapon in front of the enemy, but that's basically it. There isn't any type of melee mechanic in the game. So the first thing I would think of is maybe Dead Space 4 could have an improved melee mechanic, maybe a lightsaber itself, some type of lightsaber in the Dead Space universe. That might be kind of cool. I was looking online and there are these amazing artists who drew Dead Space in like a Star Wars type universe. So I'll give you some pictures of what a Dead Space 4 with a lightsaber mechanic could potentially look like. In the bottom left, we have what looks like to be a dagger, so that could be like a secondary close quarter weapon that he could easily take out and strike, kind of like a secondary pistol for any first person shooter. The top left looks awesome. Like, man, look at that blade. That's like an energy sword from Halo, but like demonized. One cool mechanic they could do is maybe your sword is based off of how much health you have. If you guys ever played Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, when you went into hyper mode, you would be able to do this insane amount of damage, but it would also drain your health bar. So that could be like a cool balancing mechanic in case that weapon's too OP in Dead Space 4. And then on the very far right, we have what looks like to be a traditional lightsaber with epic looking Dead Space armor. The second thing that comes to mind is zero gravity combat and just taking that one step further. I'm a personal big fan of those zero G moments, and I know there's a lot of other Dead Space fans out there that love those zero gravity moments, and Star Wars has plenty of space, so I'm sure we can make something work. There was multiplayer in Dead Space 2, and Star Wars definitely has a lot of multiplayer. Take what was right in Dead Space 2 multiplayer and just improve upon that. And if you want to really impress us, then bring zero gravity into multiplayer. A great example is the map Condemned from Halo Reach, how the middle part of the map was zero gravity. So something like that would be kind of cool to have in a multiplayer map. The closest thing to the Force in Dead Space would be stasis. We use stasis to slow enemies down, so I'm sure they could add some more attributes where you could really slow someone down or maybe force push someone away. The last thing that I can think about is honestly storytelling. Besides the prequel trilogy, Star Wars has always really been about good storytelling. So I'm not saying Dead Space has a bad story, but we could always improve story. We could always improve characters. And I think that's one thing Dead Space kind of lacked was secondary characters. I know those characters in Dead Space 3, I can't remember their names. That one guy that Isaac shoots in the head, that woman, that scientist girl, and then that old man. Like, again, like I just don't know who these characters are. I forget their names. So if you're gonna have characters in a plot line, make them matter and don't let them be there just for exposition. These are just some of the things that I can think of at the top of my head. Let me know what you guys think about this topic. What could Dead Space 4 learn from the new Star Wars game that Visceral is currently working on? Thank you for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed what I had to say, please leave a like and subscribe to Jacoby Rising for Dead Space, Halo, Deus Ex, and BIOSHOCK. I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Peace!